Hello guys, Willem Petzer here. So, the Citizen's former editor Daniel Friedman got fired after an independent law expert found that there were grounds to fire him because he was objectively spreading false news and abused his employer's platform to spread this false news against people that he had a clear vendetta against. The fight against the Citizen is, however, not over, as our lawyers are still conversing with them to see what they are going to do about the false news articles that were published on their platform by Daniel Friedman. While we are still in the middle of this fight, Friedman hit back hard by using or actually abusing one of his friends called Simon Allison at the Mail and Guardian, feeding him a lot of misinformation which he could use to write a huge smear piece about me. Now, while this is a very negative thing to read all of this misinformation about yourself online, there is actually a silver lining to this very dark cloud. Because Allison believed every word Friedman told him, and he wrote everything down just like Friedman told him to, and he didn't bother to fact check any of the things that Friedman told him to write, he wrote a piece that is so damning to his career and so damning to his credibility that it's worse than anything that the fired Friedman has written before. Now, I know for a fact that Allison got every single one of these things from Friedman because I have conversations going back almost a year in which Daniel Friedman threatened to write these things about me on WhatsApp. I actually just answered him on most of these things that I dare him to write them because it will just hurt his credibility more. Needless to say, Friedman never wrote any of the things that he threatened. But now Allison has written an article in which he claims all of the lies that Friedman threatened to write about in his newspaper. This gives us a lot of ammunition in our cause and in our struggle for the truth and for the good people of South Africa, and they have actually done us a massive favor. So, while we are actually just busy with this case at my lawyers, we can just add the Mail and Guardian to this case, and it's going to make our case so much stronger because of all the ammunition they have given us and because of all the facts, verifiably wrong facts that they wrote about me in their article. If you also want to join the struggle for the good people of South Africa, but you don't want your neck on the line like myself, I would very much appreciate if you could contribute financially to this very expensive cause. You can go to pofadder.media and click on contribute, or if you're just watching this video on YouTube, you can just click on the link in the description and you will see there is an option for you to either do an EFT to our organization or use your bank card to make a donation. But first, before you do that, and I know everyone is eager to join the cause right now, watch the video so you can know the facts that went wrong in this article and that you can be informed on the truth of this matter. You can also share this video everywhere with all of your friends so we, as the normal people, the ordinary people of South Africa, can actually have our voices heard without having a massive platform like the Mail and Guardian. On their February 28 to March 5 Mail and Guardian newspaper, the Mail and Guardian posted the following piece with the headline "Fighting the White Right Online." On this article they also have a picture of myself as well as one with Ernst Roots with the caption "The world must know AfriForum is lying," and then another picture which says "Action needed. These hate pages are starting to pose a real threat to real people." Now this fits the very definition of hate speech. By the law of South Africa, this is a call to action against myself and by implication and by the picture Ernst Roots as well. The South African law states that something like an offensive word against someone is not hate speech, but the moment that there is a call to action against someone to harm them, it is actual hate speech. This is why I never in my entire life had a call to action like this. And this is a very important bit of information to know, as we'll see later in the video. Because this picture on here, which is from the print newspaper, is very bad, I'm going to just use the internet version of the article to make this video. On the internet version of the article, the headline is slightly different, saying "The Facebook group taking on South Africa's white right." Let's begin the article. In January 2019, Willem Petzer, an activist against the so-called white genocide in South Africa with a reported fondness for racist and pro-apartheid memes, made an exciting announcement to his 15,000 odd Twitter followers. Now already in the first paragraph we see two provable, verifiable lies, two Pinocchios for Allison already. Firstly, he says here, an activist against the so-called white genocide in South Africa. Now I'm just a theology student in my early 20s who make news and analysis videos, and I've gathered a large following on YouTube because people know that I give a very unbiased and neutral view on topics that people don't really want to talk about, people in the media that is. And they said against the so-called white genocide, and this actually links to another paragraph in which they say the idea that there is a white genocide occurring in South Africa has been widely discredited, including by Africa Check and the BBC. Now, I have never in my entire life ever claimed that there is a white genocide going on in South Africa. This is actually just a straw man that the media uses to make everyone with conservative views on the situation in South Africa look ridiculous. They use this against AfriForum all the time, claiming that they have a statement that says there is a white genocide going on in South Africa. My actual view, and if the Mail and Guardian did any fact checking and any research, they would know this, is that the situation in South Africa is terrible, with incitement of violence, with violence against certain minority groups, with a tanking economy, and I could go on. But let's focus on the genocide. To prove this, the Mail and Guardian, on which the burden of proof lies, has to have at least a public statement by me, a video, or even a recording of me saying in private that there is a white genocide in South Africa. My actual view on this is very well summarized by the MP from the Democratic Alliance, Willem Petzer, in which he said, big words like Nazi, fascist, anti-Semite and crimes against humanity must be used accurately lest they lose their meaning. Apartheid was a pernicious system of social engineering, discrimination and repression. I too indulged in the hyperbole of youth. I now know better. Now, of course, Mr. Kagalia, the Democratic Alliance Member of Parliament, speaks from an entirely different viewpoint that I do speak from. He speaks from the viewpoint of a anti-apartheid activist who used a word that was not really what happened during apartheid. And I'm speaking from the view of a person who really wants the terrible things in South Africa to stop. But I don't want to use the hyperbole because I don't want that word to lose its meaning. Genocide is something like the things that happened in Rwanda and under Maoist China, even Stalin in his Soviet Republic, and so on and so forth. We all know that there isn't a white genocide going on in South Africa currently at this moment. Given the extreme hate speech from black political leaders against minorities, specifically Afrikaners, I'm not ruling out the possibility, but I have never said that there is anything as such going on in South Africa. The other lie from Mr. Allison, which is also in the first paragraph, is actually something that was written by Daniel Friedman, one of the reasons that he lost his job, one of the lies that he wrote about, and this is a reported fondness for racist and pro-apartheid memes. I challenge the Mail and Guardian to provide any shred of proof that I have ever posted, liked, or had any involvement in any racist or pro-apartheid meme. Further in the article they say, Busting the Myth of White Genocide in SA, known by its creators and supporters simply as Busting, is a Facebook group established in April 2018 with a mission to debunk conspiracies and fight white supremacists that threaten to unite South Africa. Now this is not true at all. This is a page that smears and lies about people who are moderate, people who just are logical and neutral in the debate, or even just objective in the debate, and they have attacked many people. They have even attacked people on the left or left-leaning individuals and smeared them as far-right Nazis. One such person is actually even on their Twitter account's handle, their Twitter account's banner, called Ronaldo Ghost. You can see him and his logo crossed out on their Twitter account's handle. Now they go on by saying that I exposed one or more of the people behind that group, which I did when I was actually in Hermanus investigating the riots and the arson and the intimidation there. But we'll get to that now. They go on and say Petzer identifies one Mandy Owens as being the principal architect of the group, which is actually untrue. I never said that she was the principal architect of the group. That's another lie. I just identified her as one of the contributors to the group. They say here, the pair has sparred previously over Owens' support for land redistribution for poorer communities in Hermanus. This is actually the funniest part of this whole article, because I didn't spar with her for her support for land redistribution for poorer communities in Hermanus. I sparred with her because of her involvement in a group which I have video proof of that committed arson in Hermanus, a group which I have video proof of, and you guys can check this out early on my YouTube channel, that committed intimidation in Hermanus, a group that rioted in the streets, a group that vandalized the whole town, a group that literally almost destroyed the economy of Hermanus. That is why I sparred with her, not because she supports land redistribution for poorer communities. None of this is true, none of what Petzer has said, all these right-wing trolls have said is true. She said in an interview with the Mail and Guardian, but damage was already done. Beginning just hours after the video was released and continuing until today, Owens has received a steady stream of death threats and hate mail. Now, of course, this is unverifiable. As we know from the Daniel Friedman case, people can send hate mail to themselves. And people do it a lot of times just to look for attention. I have never called for action for anyone to harass anyone else, and I have never supported any form of intimidation or violence against anyone. They go on by saying the online threats had real-world consequences too. Owens' home address in Hermanus was leaked online, her home was subsequently vandalized, and the tires on her car were slashed. She lost her job after anonymous calls and emails were made to her Pretoria-based employers. As a result, she lost her home too. Now, there are two verifiable lies in that statement. Firstly, Mandy Owens, as I know from my sources in Hermanus, never held a single full-time job since the first day that I mentioned her name, and today. She was unemployed then, she's unemployed now. Nothing has changed. Mandy Owens also never owned a home in Hermanus, a house in Hermanus, since the day I mentioned her name till today. She lived in an apartment that was paid for, and the rent was paid for by her father, according to sources in Hermanus, and now she lives in another apartment in Hermanus which is still paid for by her father. Saying that she lost her home as a result is a blatant lie, implying that she owned a home and she had to sell it because she lost her job, you know, the job that she never had. Mandy Owens actually, just for a fun fact, while she was full-time busy organizing and helping with the rioters, the arsonists, and the people committing intimidation in Hermanus, she was doing part-time small jobs for an organization called Microworks. Now, Microworks is a place where people can do very small, odd jobs for people, or free agents can do very small, very odd jobs for people, paying something between 100 Rand and roughly 300 or 500 Rand. So this is what she was doing, and now she can't do it anymore for some reason. If she was actually banned from using this Microworks initiative over this would have been ground for her to do a massive labor law lawsuit against them, which would have gotten her a lot of money. Even if anything in this article was true about her losing her job because I mentioned her name as the administrator of this Facebook group, then she could have got a massive labor law case against her former employer, which she would have almost definitely won. Why hasn't she ever gone to court? Well, because none of the things in this article is true. Also, if her home in which she lived was actually vandalized, it would have been a massive story, because these sensationalist things like so-called right-wing attacks on people on the left wing are probably one of the favorite things that the media always write about. Then why, if something happened over a year ago, are we only reading about it today in the news? That is because it is misinformation that was fed by Friedman to Allison, and Allison took it the bait, hook, line and sinker, and just destroyed his name by writing this article. So the rest of the article is actually just the Simon Allison that gave a free piece for this Busting the Myth page and the alleged other admins to write, and these people basically wrote the rest of the article for him, so I'm not going to get into that and read that. But any case, so as you can see, we have a very, very strong case now against the Mail and Guardian. So as I said, if you can contribute, and if you want to join the struggle but you don't want your neck on the line, please go ahead, go on our website, pofadder.media, as you can see here on the screen, or just click on the link in the description in YouTube and support us there financially. This will go a long way to help us in the struggle. Also, be sure to share this with your friends everywhere so that they also have a platform to learn the truth from, not a platform on which clear activists posing as journalists can post smear pieces like this and make life very difficult for individuals like myself. To be honest with you guys, I just wish all these people could leave me alone, could leave me to myself so that I can do my news and analysis for you guys, and I can focus on my studies, I can just live a normal life. But it looks like they are never going to leave me alone, and I need to fight back, and we need to fight back against them, because they absolutely hate the things that we talk about. They absolutely hate people actually giving a true analysis about the economy, about crime, about all these things in South Africa, because they hate people who pretend that everything is not perfect in the Rainbow Nation. I know, for example, two economists that I've followed for almost a decade now, Magnus Haystack and Mike Schuessler, has been under a lot of scrutiny because they predicted exactly what would happen with the economy today. They said the economy was going to tank and the economy was going to absolutely into free fall. Now today it's sort of common knowledge that the South African economy is moving in that direction, but for more than a decade now they were being labeled as racists and so forth, just for speaking the truth and just for doing a true analysis on this. Talking about the economy in South Africa going to absolutely be destroyed in the next few years or maybe decades is now something that is mainstream. It is now something that the mainstream media talks about. It is now something that you can safely talk about. But doing a true analysis on crime in South Africa, that is still something that is untouchable, and people are not allowed to talk about this, and this is why I am being targeted. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for supporting me and sharing my videos with your friends. You guys are the reason that I can go on and do what I do. Thank you guys very much, goodbye, and God bless every one of you.